Welcome back for another video. We love a midweek deadline as it means twice as much footy on and more FPL. A really good game week as well, all things considered. 112 points for last game week, or 108 after the -4 hit, which was a green arrow to 23k. Slot to Glasner, well worth the transfer in the end, as Glasner went on to beat Fulham 2-0, getting a 20 pointer as well with that table bonus. Well played if you went for Potter or Pereira as well, both getting 19 points. Let's actually do a review of the chip. Is it a good addition to the game? What do you all think? I do think the chip massively favours more engaged managers, so I guess I like that aspect to it. It should benefit us that are more engaged with the game overall. Though I do think it's an unbelievably swingy chip compared to some individual players in the game. To use an example here, Gabriel got me 2 points. Munoz, with a huge outlier performance, scored and kept a clean sheet, and he got me 13 points, so 11 point swing between the two of them. Now Arteta and Glasner was a 20 point swing between the two of them, and you multiply that by 3 game weeks, so I think the chip can genuinely make or break a season. I know he's in my league, but the current number 1, or he was number 1 during the game week, he swapped Glasner in after the deadline had passed. That's another rabbit hole, by the way, with regards to the deadline glitch. But anyway, he shot up to number 1 in the world for a while during the game week. He's now number 3. And then Max, who we interviewed on the channel when he was number 1, I think it was last week or the week before, he dropped down to 5th because he went for Arteta. So yeah, I guess it does depend what kind of manager you are. Don't get me wrong, I have enjoyed the chaos. And I did enjoy that 20 pointer, but had I gone Arteta, I'd be genuinely gutted by a 20 point swing on such a marginal decision. I mean, those of you that went from Moyes to Emery to Glasner have absolutely smashed it. That's 56 points using 2 transfers and 0.8 million of your budget. That's a season defining run potentially. So yeah, it's a really powerful chip, maybe overpowered even. I'm trying hard to look at it with the perspective of not having just massively benefit from it as well. What do you all think of the chip? Do you like it or do you dislike it? Anyway, a great week, and yeah, the only regret was selling Bruno for Kluivert. I mean, that said, it is a move that I think made sense. Man United have just been shocking, while Bournemouth have been great, and obviously Bournemouth had the better fixture. They ended up getting the red card, which changed the game. Bruno only took 1 shot, which was that free kick that he scored. Man United only took 3 shots in total. And Bruno was playing that deeper centre mid role for a stretch of the game, which was also my concern. Anyway, let's have a quick look at your biggest highs and lows sent in for last game week. Lucy sold Emery for Glasner and she finished on 107 points, and on top of that, she's moved up to 7.8k overall, great rank. Bledo says, I had an absolute mad one this week. Live FPL's got my gaming rank at 510th in the world. I don't think I'll ever see 3 digits there again, insane. Bledo finished on 124 points, Gabriel, Kluivert and Palmer the only blanks in their team. Tom C says, I swapped captaincy from Salah to Kluivert after the deadline, FML. 4 pointer he got from his captain. Martin finished on 66 points all out. He went with McKenna, assistant manager, who of course got 1 point, and 7 other blanks in his team. You know it's an insanely swingy game week when you've got some people scoring double your points. For all the talk of the assistant manager chip lately, Meadtat totally played their own game, with a bench boost of all chips. Henderson, Asensio, Wisser and Kanate for 35 points bench boosted, 128 points in total, smashed it. So let's get into the team for Gameweek 27 and transfer plans. In goal, Raya's away to Forest, comfortable 3-0 win in the reverse fixture, and potentially playing with Forest at just the right time really, having lost 3 of their last 4 games, and 1 clean sheet kept in their last 6. Who knows with the recent form of Wood though, of course. So let's pull up the clean sheet odds for Gameweek 27. This week Arsenal are second highest with a 39.5% chance. Chelsea and Man United joint top, 42% chance. Neither Chelsea or Man United feel like a reliable defence right now. But it's the right time to use Cole, who comes into the starting 11 for me. Southampton home. They're favourites for a clean sheet. It's a nice pair of fixtures in a row before I'm going to bench him against Arsenal Gameweek 29. Southampton have scored just 19 goals this season in 26 games, 5 fewer than any team. I've got a defender dilemma this week as well. The rest of the defence is Gabriel and Trent. So the question is, who do I start between Munoz and Gabriel? Gabriel away against Forest and Munoz home to Villa. Arsenal with 12% better clean sheet odds. Oddly though, Palace have been so much better in away games, which is obviously not typical of any football team. They literally haven't lost an away game since Game Week 8 against Forest back in October. Whereas looking at some of the home game recent results, they are as follows: loss, loss, draw, win, loss, draw, draw, loss. Maybe that's just noise in the data though, rather than anything meaningful to read into. At the end of the day, Arsenal's defence has been the best in the league this season, so it is tempting to double up with Raya, which is the current plan, and just hope that Palace concede. That's the only spot in the team that might change as we near the deadline though. Let me know who you'd start in the comments, Gabriel or Munoz. I know obviously Munoz has just scored and kept a clean sheet, so that's playing on my mind. I am also thinking about the upside though. Like, so many managers sold one of Gabriel or Raya for an Everton defender or Pickford in that double game week, so I can gain points on every single one of those if Arsenal keep a clean sheet. I think Villa have looked better as well. They've made some great signings in the January window, and I do fancy them to score if I'm honest. And lastly, Trent's home to Newcastle next. Taking some encouragement from the fact that Newcastle just conceded 3 home to Forest as well. He looked absolutely knackered towards the end of the City game, and I'm sure Bradley or Gomez would have come on had they been available. It was Quansah that came on in the 92nd minute in the end. I do have some concerns about that Southampton fixture, given it is sandwiched between 2 ties against PSG for Liverpool in the Champions League. Plus, they have extended their gap to 11 points at the top now, so maybe that's a fixture that Slot thinks he could rotate a few players in. Obviously, I'm going to start Trent regardless, but maybe I'll keep an eye out for leaks. I mean, that was also one reason I bought Gabriel in last week, plus the fact that I'd have to take a hit for him or Vardy or Gameweek 29 anyway to avoid playing Greaves. And obviously it does give me a good defender if Trent doesn't play, and it gives me a good defender in Gameweek 30 as well if I don't wildcard that week. So onto the midfield, which is Semenyo and Bumo, Salah, Palmer and Kluivert. A disappointing outcome in that Wolves match, which affected pretty much all of us given the popularity of the Bournemouth assets. I mean, who knows how that one would have played out 11v11. Double Bournemouth midfield for me with Kluivert and Semenyo. They're playing away against Brighton next, who have turned it on recently. They've got 4 wins in 6, which is solid. And Brighton are 5th best for expected goals over that run. Again, I'm really keeping my options open because we might not know Gameweek 33's doubles before Gameweek 30, in which case I'm going to need someone that I'm happy to play with then. And that week, Bournemouth are home to Ipswich. What a season Mbumo's having. 26 games, 26 starts. I think there's only about 5 minutes of football the whole season he's not played in the Prem. 15 goals, 4 assists, so 19 returns and 26. 166 points, which only Palmer and Salah can beat among midfielders. And he's closed the gap to Palmer to only 11 points now. But you'd imagine Palmer pulls ahead with those next 2 fixtures. In fact, yeah, let's talk about Palmer then. The one other thing that I'm very on the fence about is captaincy. I know Salah's having the season of his life, a generational season really. But if you're not captaining the second top scoring player in the league against the worst team in the league, then when are you really? You've really got to be brave though and show some conviction, because Salah's going to be by far the most popular captain again. Probably 180% EO if I was to guess. Palmer might be like 120% effective ownership. If you're wondering what EO is, basically it factors in captaincy at various rank thresholds. So for example, Salah is 72% owned overall, but that's irrelevant at the higher ranks. Like basically everyone in the top 100k's got him, for example. Or maybe he's 99.999% owned, there might be one that doesn't. And if they all captain him, then the points are doubled, so essentially his points are worth 200% of his ownership at that rank. Last game week, Salah was 189% EO around the top 100k. So if you own Salah and you captain Palmer, then Salah's only 100% owned in your team because you don't get the double. So let's say he's 180% EO next game week, then that would mean 80% of his points go against your team, which is a lot, especially if he does well. But let's say Palmer's only 120% EO and you captain him, then in your team he's 200% owned and you'll gain some decent rank for every point he gets. So yeah, there's massive upside if he does well, and if Salah doesn't, of course. I mean, they'll probably both do well, so it's just who does better, and do you take that risk on? Let's be honest, it's really unlikely, but hypothetically, if Salah blanks against Newcastle, new captain Palmer and he hauls, that's going to completely change your season. I think that's something to strongly keep in mind if you're chasing the upside, especially if, for example, you're nowhere near where you want to be in the rankings or your mini leagues. But yeah, to play devil's advocate, Salah is now 19 points short of a new all-time record. FPL's been going since 2002. 19 points he needs to set a new record. He's got 11 games in hand. He's on over 100 more points than anyone else this season. 16 double-digit returns in 27 games. That's a new all-time record as well. He's got more points in away games alone than literally anyone's got in total. He's got 182 points on the road. It's a Tuesday deadline as well, so there's not much time to think this one over. Who are you going with, Salah or Palmer? Let us know. My front two this week is Wissa and Isak. Huge relief as Wissa finally bagged a long overdue goal. 4.1 expected goal involvement over the last 6 matches is second highest in the entire league after Mateta. Even then, Wood still got an assist, so it wasn't all big gains. There's just no escaping Wood right now. Brentford are home to Everton next. So if we look at the projected goals and clean sheets this week from Rob T, Brentford are on 1.65 projected goals. Chelsea are top, by the way, exactly 3.0 goals, and maybe that lends some weight to Palmer over Salah captain in fact. Liverpool are on 2.4 projected goals though, so not too far behind. Man City of 2.2. They should have Haaland back for the Spurs game midweek. I'm not feeling brave enough to bench Isak though it is an option given the strength of my bench now. Although it does cause some real headaches at times, it does feel good to have a solid bench again, just in case of any curveballs before I activate the wildcard in Gameweek 30 or 31. In the reverse fixture, Newcastle drew 3-0 with Liverpool, where Isak came away with 1 goal, 1 assist. An absolute screamer he scored outside the box. So yeah, the bench is looking better. It's Fabianski, Munoz, Strand Larsen and Tarkowski. The final 2 decisions then to lock in is Gabriel or Munoz in the back 3. I was initially going to say that since Forest have added some height in goal and obviously Milenkovic, perhaps Gabriel's set piece threat is nullified, but I had a look at the actual data to see if that is supported. And over the last 6 games played, Forest have conceded 21 headers on goal, which is more than any team in the league. Over the season, they're 12th best. So yeah, Strand Larsen's flag's finally gone, and even though he's on my bench, I do hope he starts and does well against Fulham. He'd be absolutely perfect for that Southampton fixture in blank Gameweek 29. In terms of transfer plans, I think it's fair to say the team looks good enough this week. There's nothing worth spending a transfer on for sure. So it's a straightforward roll this week to take me up to 2 transfers in Gameweek 28. I'm now up to 1.7 million in my bank after getting the assistant manager money back. That could come in very handy for buying Haaland in Gameweek 29. But for now it's a roll, and let's decide what to do in Gameweek 28. It's a double upload day today as well. The experts will follow later. Don't forget to hit like and more importantly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching as always, and see you soon for the next one.